We're going to get started with our post-race media availabilities for today's Pocono 400. We're joined by Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 4, Busch Beer Ford, who finished 4th and led the most laps at 89 laps today. Kevin, why don't you just take us through that final stop and restart?
We had a good car all day. Just came down to that really losing control of the race on the last pit stop. Really, not pitting or pitting didn't really seem to matter. We just we lost control to the 18 and wound up losing a couple more spots on the restart, starting on the inside, and that was the end of the day. So car was fast and everybody did a great job. It just didn't work out.
All right, we'll open up to questions for Kevin. We'll start down here in the media center. We'll go here to Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, Pocono Record. You kind of touched on it there, that the decision not to pit didn't hurt as much as not having the track position to clean air. Were you surprised by the fact that the tires didn't play into it as much as maybe years past?
Not really. I mean, it just, with all the restarts and everything, and everybody sitting there cooling their tires off, I think it, everything kind of evened out.
Do we have any questions upstairs in the press box? All right, we'll wrap up down here in the media center if anyone has a final question. All right, thanks, Kevin. We are now joined by Kyle Busch, who finished 3rd in today's race, driver of the number 18, M&M's red, white, and blue Toyota. Kyle, why don't you just take us through that final stop and restart there?
Might as well go before that. Shoot, we're here. Just real unfortunate there that once we all thought we had that caution that brought us all down pit road for what we thought was the final stop of the day. We got tires. We beat everybody off pit road and was in control of the restart and then in control of the race when we were leading there. And all of a sudden, about 10, 11 laps into that run, there was a caution in turn 1 for what looked to me to be a shoe booty. Somebody took their booty off, I guess, and chucked it out their window. So that was kind of weird that we saw a caution for that, but safety comes first. So that just kind of derailed our strategy, if you will, and we lost this race last year on not pitting in that situation and getting beat by tires. And so we pitted this year for tires and got beat by those that didn't pit. So just really crazy situation there with how all that kind of transpired and went down. But we fought hard for the finish and tried to get the most out of what we could there and just couldn't pass.
And we're also joined by Kyle Larson, who finished 2nd today. He's the driver of the number 42 DC Solar Chevrolet. Kyle, why don't you just take us through that run there at the end?
No, I hit it. It hit my windshield.
Okay,
It was a big piece
we'll
of
see.
metal. Claire's like, Kyle saw a shoe booty. I'm like, he needs to get his eyes checked. What'd you say?
Just talk about your day.
You can
Talk
just
about my day.
Take us through the end there.
We weren't quite as fast as what I thought we'd be after practice. Ran probably 6th or 7th all day long and finished 2nd. Was happy about that because I felt like, obviously we were at a little bit of a disadvantage on tires there, but the track position overcame that. But I felt like if I didn't have a good restart on any one of those, I would have fell back, outside the top 5 from those guys on fresher tires. So happy we finished 2nd, but needed a lot more to kind of compete with the 3 guys that ran up front all day.
All right, we'll open up to questions for Kyle and Kyle. We'll start with Kyle, and then we'll go to Zach.
That is way too many Kyles.
Kyle has a question for Kyle and Kyle, actually. Kyle Magda from the Times Leader. First with Kyle Busch. I saw one of your crew members yesterday wearing the Pure Talent shirts. Did you design that? I was just wondering, if they'll be sold at all. I know it was back from the Charlotte truck race last month.
Those were just made by the pit crew as kind of a gag. It's kind of a joke, but hopefully they didn't steal too much of the thunder because we were working on a shirt that said that in order to sell for charity reasons. So hopefully we can get that going on and not take away from my team guys' designs that they already had made.
And then for Larson, could you just talk about the progression of the 42 team? It just seems like Chevrolet's been trying to catch up all season with the Camaro. How was the car today compared to the Toyotas?
I felt like my car today was kind of as good as it's been all year. I feel like the Hendrick guys have definitely gotten better, as well as our RCR guys. So, but I feel like I've kind of just been a step behind the 18, the 78, and the 4. I definitely felt like the 4 had the most power down the straightaways today. The little bit I was in front of him there at the end, I felt like even when I get a good exit off of 3, he would close on me a lot, compared to the 18 and the 78 a little bit. But the 4 was definitely really fast. But we got to just continue to work hard and try and get our cars a little bit better. Thanks, Kyle.
We're going to go to Zach, and then we're going to check upstairs in the press box.
Zach Sterniolo, Pocono Record. For both of you, were you surprised by the difference that the clean air made as opposed to the tires? I mean, not pitting and pitting seemed to make way more of a difference last year as opposed to this year. And then I have a follow-up here for Kyle Larson.
No, I mean, clean air is always super important here. He and the 4 were way better than I was at the end, but I was just able to kind of stay just low enough on exit, I felt like, to keep them tight behind me. Clean air is just important everywhere, but especially, I feel like when you get to these fast tracks that are pretty flat.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little disappointing that the tires didn't mean anything more than they did there at the end with guys that had 10, 11 laps on their tires, and they were able to still outrun us and beat us for us having fresher rubber. So clean air was king.
And then to follow up on that, Kyle, I know obviously you were at the go-kart track last night, but then right after that, you and Denny ran into someone who was out of gas. Can you kind of go through that story and kind of explain what happened? Any good karma now that you end up P2?
Yeah, a little good karma probably. That was fun at SNS Speedway there, little slick track. That place is a lot of fun. As soon as we left, like a quarter mile up the road, kind of gets windy and it was dark, and we were following this minivan that had started slowing down in front of us. So we stopped just to see what was wrong, if they needed help, and they were out of fuel. So all we did was really just turn around, go get a fuel jug from the go-kart track, cruise up and put a couple gallons in their car and send them on their way and led them to a nearby gas station. So, it was cool to help out. They had a little daughter, so we just wanted to make sure that they were safe because it was a very, I think they called that corner Dead Man's Corner. So we didn't want to leave them stranded there.
We're going to check upstairs in the press box for any questions.
No questions up here. Thank you.
We're going to go over here to the far left and then come back to the center.
John Howard from ESPN Albuquerque. For Larson, just how do you feel going to Michigan next week where you've been so good, and how do you just evaluate what your season's been so far this year?
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about Michigan yet. I'm excited to go there, off of 3 wins in a row. So, for whatever reason, we've been fast there. We actually weren't that fast the last one we had, but we were able to have some good restarts at the end. So, hopefully we can go and have our car as competitive as it was the first 2 times and try and get a 4th win.
Tom Bowles, front stretch. For both of you guys, it seemed like the inside line on a restart, you were dead in the water, even if you're running in second place. How tough was it to restart on the inside line? Why was it so bad? And should NASCAR address a track like this if it's so bad on one line versus the other? It seemed like if you were in third, you had an advantage on a restart compared to being in second.
Third's the inside line, isn't it?
I'm sorry, in fourth.
That's typical. When you're on the outside, the leader typically chooses the outside for the launch and to get going, and so he can control the guy on his inside and not get in a bad aero spot. So that just makes that lane accelerate that just instant sooner, and that momentum just kind of rolls. But I thought Larson and I had a pretty good run there on that final restart where I pushed him back up to the back of the 78, and he didn't hit him enough in order to get him up the track a little farther so I could squeak on under there and have a 3-wide battle and probably a whole bunch of fire and flames and parts on the outside of the racetrack in turn 2, but maybe next time.
I tried.
Do we have any final questions downstairs or in the press box? We'll go over here to the left downstairs.
How likely do you think it is that the 4 guys that finish the top 4 are likely to be like the championship racers at Homestead in November?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with it. Let's do it. I don't know. I think the 3 out of the 4 definitely been the best. I think I would say me. I mean, I'm the only one that doesn't have a win in the front 4. But yeah, I mean the 2, the 12. Yeah, I don't know. I think that 3 of those guys are definitely head over heels better than the rest of us. But I think from 4th to 6th or 7th best car, it's pretty close.
All right. Well, Kyle and Kyle, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks.
All right. We are going to continue on with our post-race media availabilities for today's Pocono 400. We are joined by members of our race-winning team, which is the number 78 Bass Pro Shops 5-Hour Energy Toyota. We are joined by the crew chief, Cole Pearn, and by the team president for Furniture Row Racing, Joe Garone. Cole, why don't we start with you and take us through that last pit stop there from your point in the pit box.
The not pitting one? Yeah. Yeah, obviously worked out, now, but, I was pretty nervous at the time. Just didn't know how it was going to shake out. Kind of the 18 ducked off there and knew if we pitted, we'd be behind them and then trying to come through traffic. So didn't think that was the call to win, at least at that point. So, kind of wished maybe 6 or 7 would have stayed out instead of 4, but I'm a little bit more nervous at that point. But obviously it worked out. Even in practice, our refires were really good on scuffs and felt like all day we had a good car. We were really equal. I think us 18 to 4 were, super equal all day. It was just a matter of kind of who was out front. And obviously, taking the track position at that time and getting away from them was, made it feel good. Those first couple laps, we ran some of our fastest laps of the race, and kind of knew at that point that we had a good shot at it.
And Joe, second win of the season for you guys. What does this mean for Furniture Row Racing?
Well, it just is a continuation of checks and balances. We got a win early in the season there, and then somewhat struggled, and then come back and get better and better, and then be able to get a win again. And it just is good for all the guys in the shop and to pick up their spirits and continue working hard and realizing that the product that they're giving Cole is something he can take with Martin and win with. It's big. Winning's everything.
Absolutely. All right, we'll open up to questions now for Cole and Joe. We're going to start over here with Mike and then go to Jeff and Jerry and Zach.
Mike Hember, USA Today. Cole, at some tracks, maybe most tracks, clean air is what you want, but in some cases, you almost have to come in and take 4. Is that something here that you would have more or less decided pre-race, or was this sort of a at-the-moment decision?
It was, definitely a at-a-moment decision. It was, just weighing one side or the other. It was pretty much a coin flip, really, when it came down to it. And, it's kind of the nicer spot of being, we run second at a time leading. It's a tougher decision, I think. And, once 18 ducked off, made the call to stay, just thought our best odds was to do something different, and obviously it worked out.
We'll go to Jeff and then Jerry.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com for Cole. Last week after the race, Martin had said that he thought you guys had top 5 speed, but not the winning speed that was going to beat Harvick and Kyle. Does this now show today that you guys are up there, or was this more of a product of clean air track position and you guys needed, it was a circumstance of?
No, I think it was a step in the right direction for us this weekend. We've been working really hard and felt good about it this weekend. I mean, I think you look at the first stage, we were, 3rd behind both those guys, and we passed them both to win the stage. So I think, I think that really has nothing to do with the end. It showed that, the speed was there in our car. And, I think all 3 of us all day were, give and take where each of us were on the balance. We're all pretty equal. And obviously having track position then was good. And just, at the end, even before that, I mean, it was all 3 of us in a row, kind of racing for it. So it was a good step in the right direction for us. And, it hasn't come without hard work. I promise you that.
We'll go to Jerry, then Zach, and then we're going to check in the press box.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. Cole, you seem to be pretty much a week-to-week guy, but do you and Martin ever have conversations about, hey, we can do this again this year, and with the performance, 2 wins? I know that Kevin's got 5 and Kyle's got 4, but you guys are strong, and obviously you're one of the teams to watch.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you can only control your own destiny. So I think it's just a matter of continuing to working on the areas that we know we need to improve, and there's still areas after this weekend we feel like we can improve. So it's just it's a matter of staying after it, and if you manage your own inputs, the output's going to be the best you can hope for. So obviously those guys, the 4 and the 18 have done a unbelievable job all year, and we've been close for sure, and today was a great step in the right direction, and let us know that we're kind of working the right way.
We'll go to Zach and then up to the press box.
Zach Sternale, Pocono Record. Colt, last year the 18 got beaten this race by staying out when everyone came in for tires. Was that in the back of your mind at all, knowing that in years past tires were more of a premium? Were you concerned that the clean air wouldn't be enough?
Yeah, obviously, when only 4 of us stayed out, it was a little bit more of a concern at that point. But I think that race was a lot hotter, and today it was kind of cool, so kind of a little bit more gripped up, and even in practice we were able to refire really well on older tires, and I think that kind of gave us some optimism, at least, that all right, if we can stretch it out, I honestly thought it would have been closer. I think I thought he would have been closer to us, but really once we got out running, the balance was really good at that point. With the fuel burned off and scuffs, Martin was really happy with the car and able to make lap time. And once I kind of saw what we could run, I was like, all right, nothing crazy happens here. We got a shot at it.
We're going to check in upstairs in the press box.
No questions from the press box. Thank you.
We have any more questions down here in the media center? We'll go back to Jeff on the far side.
For Joe, there's been a lot of talk about potentially using the All-Star package later in the year. How would that affect what you guys do as far as costs, and are you guys willing to go that direction?
Well, you have to be willing to go that direction. Cost is a consideration because everything we do, no matter how it's presented, it costs significant money to get into development. It sounds you talk about it and it sounds simple sometimes to do some of the changes, but we're all competitors, so these guys will take the cars and try and optimize them, and we end up pouring a lot of dollars into those kinds of moves. However, if it can produce a better product on the track, the product is really good right now, quite honestly. I think it's good that we research that stuff if we can, given enough runway, enough time.
I feel like you could really argue, though, that today was probably better than yesterday, I think the racing today was better than what we saw yesterday, so, I mean, that's something to consider.
You look at the lap times there for a certain period of time between the 4, the 18, and the 78, and you could have laid them over each other for a lot of laps. It was pretty impressive.
Anything final for Joe or Cole? All right, gentlemen, congratulations. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we are going to wrap up our post-race media availabilities for today's Pocono 400. We are joined by Martin Truex Jr., driver of the number 78 Bass Pro Shops 5-Hour Energy Toyota. This was Martin's second win of the season and also second win here at Pocono Raceway. Martin, why don't you just take us through that final restart and the ending there?
Well, final restart, really the end of the race was just kind of played in our hands. We decided to stay out there when some guys pitted. I think 4 of us stayed out or whatever, but really, we were good on scuffs yesterday in practice, and that kind of led to that decision. And Cole said stay out, and I was like, I think this is a good idea. So, luckily, it worked out for us. We ran some really fast lap times at the end, but the restarts are always, always a question mark. You're always a little bit nervous, just hoping you do everything right and hoping 2 guys don't get that bumper to bumper kind of tandem thing going and get a run on you. So. We were able to hold them off, and I felt like if we could get to turn 1 with the lead, I felt pretty confident we could hold them off, and that was the case. So, awesome day by everybody on the team, and we had to battle a little bit back from a bad pit stop, but in general, just had a really good car. Everybody did a great job all weekend long and made the right decisions. So, just happy today that things kind of went our way a little bit for once. It's been tough lately, but. It was an awesome day, awesome place to win, and really proud of everybody.
All right, we'll open up to questions for our race winner. We'll start over here with Jeff and then Mike.
Jeff Gluck from jeffgluck.com. Last week you said that you had top 5 speed but not winning speed, were your words. Do you feel like that has changed in a week, or was this more a product of the track position and clean air that you had at the end?
I would say that I think we had winning speed today for sure. It seemed like, stage 1 we passed the 4 for the lead, and then we were able to check out. Towards the end of the race there, it was 18 leading, we were second, 4 was third, and we were all just sitting there, like, couldn't get any closer to each other, and I felt like whoever was out front at that point was going to be the car to beat. We were all so closely matched. So, yeah, for sure today I thought we hit it really well. Thought we made good changes from yesterday in practice. But really in general all weekend I felt good about the car and felt like we've had speed. So, I was a little worried after the bad pit stop that I was like, oh, here we go again. We're battling back. We're going to finish, struggle to finish in the top 5 again. But luckily, like I said, it worked out. And it just seems like lately we've been fast. We've just been tiny little bit off on getting the balance the way we need to. And we've been a little bit inconsistent throughout the weekend as far as hitting it. I felt like today was the first weekend in a while, even though we've been finishing good, that everything made sense. Everybody, we had kind of a game plan, and everything went the way we thought it would. And it was just a smooth weekend. It felt like we were doing all the little things right. So that's always a good feeling, and that's something that we really had last year. We had a lot of confidence in our decisions and making the right adjustments for race day and things like that. And I felt like this weekend we did that. So, yeah, I feel good about where we're at. And, it's definitely a great weekend and a great way to finish off a weekend today.
We're going to go to Mike and then Zach, and we'll check in the press box.
Mike Embry, USA Today. You won twice this year, but I think it's fair to say there's been kind of a big 2 with Busch and Harvick. Is there a big 3 now? Can we kind of say that about you after today?
Oh, if you want to. I think if you look at our season as a whole, you look at the amount of spots we've lost on pit road. We had 4 weekends where, obviously we finished really bad, poorly. We had 2 blown tires and got caught in 2 wrecks 4 weeks in a row, which really hurt us and set us back momentum-wise, but more so points-wise. Besides them 4 races, we've been top 5 all but once. So if you look at that, it's like, it's pretty good. And the things that we've had to battle back from to keep finishing in the top 5, it's hard to do. We've passed 91. We had 91 quality passes at Charlotte. It was way more than anybody else had to finish second. In the last run of the race, we were the fastest car on the racetrack. So we've had more battles this year. We've had more adversity. Last year, I felt like it was almost like we couldn't do anything wrong. This year, we've had to really work a lot harder for it, but I feel like we're still right there. And today was a perfect example. We went up there and won stage 1 because we qualified well and had a good car in the long runs. And we put ourselves in position to win, even though we had to come from 14th in stage 2. But at the end of the day, things went our way. We had that caution. Some guys decided to pit. We decided to stay out. And it played into our hands because our car was good on long runs. It was good on older tires. Most importantly, it was good on scuffs, which we found out yesterday in practice. So sometimes you can have the best of everything, and if things don't go your way, it's impossible. Today, we did all the little things right and had a little bit of luck on our side as well, and that's what it takes at this level.
We're going to go to Zach, the press box, and then to Zach C.
Zach Sterniolo, Pocono Record. It looked like, especially early in this race, first stage, you, Kevin, Kyle, were all kind of right on top of each other there, and it looked like there was some good racing. There's been a lot of talk about the packages that everyone's run, whether we're going to go to the All-Star race package later this season or not. What was your take on the product we saw today? And then I have a follow-up.
I thought the racing was good today. I thought watching the Xfinity race, it was pretty disappointing to see the way that they raced with that package. But obviously it's not dialed in for this racetrack yet, and it's not I don't think they're really the way to go for this track. With that being said, last year, the fall race, we had a really good race there as well, I thought, for Pocono, which is typically, because it's so fast and the turns are so flat, it's tough. It's tough to pass. It's tough to stay really close, tucked up to the car in front of you. I would say in general that it was probably a little bit easier to stay close to a car in the fall last year than it is now. But with that being said, I thought today was a good race. We had a few passes for the lead. For the most part, it was, guys battling for position, and we had some restarts at the end, which everybody always likes to see. So, for sure, if you look at how far apart the package we ran today is and what the Xfinity cars ran yesterday, how much really different was the racing, I wouldn't say a whole lot different. So, thought today's race went well, and we'll just see what the future brings.
Still looks like clean air is kind of dominant, though, especially as opposed to fresher tires. I know you found out yesterday how good you guys were on the scuffs. Did that eliminate any of the doubt that you had when it was time to make that decision, or was kind of history of this place still lingering in your mind?
I was a little bit nervous at first, to be honest. I was like, only 4 of us stayed out. I was like, gosh, they're going to have 4, and be 5th. That's a good spot to be in. So I was a little worried about that, but once we fired off and I seen the lap times and I knew what my car felt like, I initially was like, oh, we're good. We got them. It's game over. So, clean air, it is what it is. We're going 205 miles an hour going into turn 1. If you show me a world where we can go 205 and air doesn't matter, then you're gonna surprise a lot of people, and it's kind of like, change the face of the earth, so to speak. It just doesn't happen. So, yes, clean air is important, and unless we go, 80 miles an hour, clean air is going to be important.
We're going to go upstairs to the press box.
Hey, Martin, it's Chris on Catchfence.com. Sherry seemed a little bit more emotional today about being here for the win than she has in the past, and I think it's the first time she's been back on the track for a little bit. Can you talk about what it's been like to have her here this weekend?
Oh yeah, it was awesome. I think more than anything, she's happy she just picked the right one to come to. She wasn't in California because I stayed out west on the West Coast swing, and she just didn't want to do all the traveling and stuff. Just trying to stay home and relax and focus on her health and all that stuff. So it was definitely awesome to have her back here. It's her first win of the year with her here, and glad she was able to celebrate it with us. I know the team was excited to see her here in Victory Lane with us. It's always special. So we've got a fun couple weeks coming up. I've been just going crazy the last couple weeks with a lot of things and haven't been home. I think maybe 2 days in the last 3 weeks. So making our annual Michigan trip from here and going up there to enjoy some cool weather and hanging out with some friends and doing a little fishing. And it was cool that she was here today, and now we get a little time to celebrate it this coming week and then going into our off weekend after Michigan.
Do we have anything else up in the press box right now? All right, we'll go
Thanks,
to
press
Zach.
box.
We'll go to Zach and then Jerry and Dan.
Zach and Tansready, kickingthetires.net. This is where you got your first win for the team back in 2015. You said Shea was here. It seems like a really special place for you, one of your home tracks. Does your
one
career,
of them, yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
Does your career with the 78 team really seem to come full circle when you come back here?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think more than anything, I have tracks that I have really fond memories of and memories coming to as a kid that were really, instrumental in giving me that racing bug or making me want to be a driver or just fall in love with the sport in general. So this is definitely one of those tracks because of the fact that I came here at such a young age and watched race cars here. So with that being said, for us, I think as a team, it's just for whatever reason, since we got together, it's been a great track for us. You look at 2015, we were able to win and, kind of surprised a lot of people the way we did it. And that season in general, the way we were running, we were probably overachieving for where we were in the sport and our equipment and things like that. But 2016, I felt like both races here we had the car to beat, and I think we had a flat tire once. I'm not sure what happened the other time, but just in general, we've always, for whatever reason, been really good here, and it's always fun when you have success at a place you love coming to. I love this area. I have a lot of friends and family that come to this race to see us, and I got a lot of friends, that are from this area. I go fishing here on Friday and Saturday after practice, and it's just a cool area, and I really enjoy coming up here. So anytime you can connect those two, it's always special, and for that reason, this is ranks up there as one of our favorite tracks at Furniture Row Racing.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network have two. First, what are your plans for the off week?
I'm going to stay in Michigan. I'm riding. We're going to Michigan tonight. I'll be fishing all week. Like I said, I've had a couple busy weeks, really 3 where I haven't had a day off, and it's been pretty crazy. So Charlotte, it's like, yeah, you're going home to race at Charlotte. Yeah, oh no, we have more to do there than ever. But get a couple of days off this week, and that's going to be fun to go up. We're going to Michigan from here, like I said, and then I'll actually ride down from northern Michigan into motorhome to the racetrack Thursday night, and then go through the weekend, and then ride back up northern Michigan into motorhome after the race in Michigan, and we'll stay up there the whole week through the off weekend. So love going up there in the summertime. Great weather, cool weather, and get out of the humidity, and some great fishing holes up there. So we've got some friends up there that we've known a long time we spend time with, and just go up there and kind of do some camping. It's a lot of fun, so looking forward to it.
And also ask Cole this question. Do you guys focus more week to week, or do you look at the bigger picture of the championship, and how do those two intertwine?
I think for us it's more week to week. We see where we're at. We feel like what we need to work on, what direction we need to head in. Lately we've had a real focused approach on the things that we know we've been fighting to try to get better, and we've just continued to inch down that road and chip away at it. And I feel like we've been making progress. So for us, it's week to week for sure. And you go week to week. You try to evaluate where you're at, and you're always trying to be out there winning races or challenging to win. And obviously, you want to be at the top of your game. When them last 10 races come. But if you continue week to week and just try to get better all the time and understand your strengths and weaknesses, it's a big help to that. So I think that's the best approach.
We'll go to Dan and then Scott.
Thanks, Dan Gelston with the Associated Press. Martin, you said it's been crazy in the last few weeks in other sports, the parades and the rings, all that's in the off season. Here you are 6 months later, still on your victory tour.
Yeah.
It hasn't really shown necessarily in the results. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling the effects of being on the go, or are these just the celebration's too much of a good thing?
No, I mean I'm good. I'm pretty happy with what's going on. I mean it's always nice to have a day or two off a week, but sometimes you can't always get that. So honestly, it's as crazy as it's been a lot of fun. I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff. I mean, going to the White House 2 weeks ago was amazing, and to get to meet the president and get the tour and the way he treated our team really made us feel special, and just kind of reminded us of how big a deal it is to win a championship in this sport. And so that was really cool. And then I went to the New Jersey Capitol this week, and got a proclamation that was Martin Truex Jr. Day in New Jersey. So I mean, you think about those things, and it's on one hand it's work, but on one hand it's really not. It's just keeping you busy, So it's just we've been on the go a lot, but it's all been fun stuff, and it's stuff that's been like, things that you never thought could possibly happen. If you go back 10 years or 5 years even. So been very lucky. It's been a lot of fun along the way, and but at the same time, I'm ready to kind of have a few days off, and it's gonna be awesome to be up Michigan and have a little time to play.
Also, real quick, you had 2 wins at this point last season. Do you feel any before you took off? Do you feel any? You're ahead of last year, the same? Do you feel like it's?
I don't really. I haven't really thought about it much. I haven't really compared it, but I feel really good, honestly. I mean, I feel like throughout the week, every single weekend this year, I've felt like, we can show up and win. And in this sport, as tough as it is, as competitive as it is, that's really what you look for. Anytime you're in a situation like that, I think you're in a good place. It changes fast. Things change quick. You never know what's coming in a few weeks. So if you can go through, parts of the season feeling that, it's always a good place to be, and I feel that way now. So hopefully we can keep it going. You never know, but we're going to work hard to try to do it.
We're going to go to Scott.
Scott Walsh from the Scranton Times-Tribune. Martin, you talked about how last year things almost kind of came easy, and you know, you basically show up and win. This year it's been a little more of a struggle. Does that make it a little more rewarding when you win today because you had to work a little harder for it, whereas last year, I'm not saying you didn't work hard last year, but where you just seem, you know, it's kind of happened as opposed to where you had to work to make it happen today?
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's just a reminder how difficult this sport is, especially this level, and you know how difficult racing is in general, and how many things you know can bite you when you're not, you know, when you least expect it, I guess. So yeah, it's been you know, it's always, I guess, good to have that reminder, and it helps you to remember, you know, how special it is to win, how important they are, and how much they mean to the team, and what it takes. So I've got an amazing team, and they never cease to amaze me. So hopefully we can keep it up.
Do we have any final questions for our race winner, either up in the press box or down here in the media center?
Thanks, everyone.
All right, Martin, congratulations.
Thank you.